And this is Dolynny TV. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today, guys. We had some news the other day about the Edmonton Oilers GM search from Bob Nicholson, and this is where it gets really interesting because Nicholson mentioned, I believe, that he's sitting there saying, the GM search is going to be a long one. Well, we know they've kind of gotten into the process, kind of not, you know what I mean, and it's a challenging time to be an Oilers fan, right? That's probably where we're getting this from. If the GM search is going to be a long one, you're obviously not looking at this solving itself by the end of the year, right? The end of the regular season. So you got to look here, and I mean, for us Oilers fans, we thought fire Peter Chiarelli, 2 weeks we'd have a new guy, and that's what it seemed like. When Bob Nicholson stood up there and was telling us everything that was going to happen and who was doing what, and Keith Gretzky taking over as interim GM, we kind of thought, you know what, we're going to have this solved before the trade deadline. We're going to make some massive moves and make a good push. Well, here's the thing. The Oilers were kind of mediocre after finishing up Chiarelli's tenure, right? We didn't exactly do much of anything special after getting rid of Chiarelli. Let's go back to March here, or March. We want March because or February, pardon me. That's when we came out of the trade deadline, or out of the AllStar break. So you've got Philadelphia. We lose 5-4 in OT. We lose 4-3 in OT to Montreal. Suddenly we're like, you know what? Not bad. We can do this. And then this is where it got really ugly for our Oilers. 6-2 loss to Chicago. Just the absolute embarrassing game that was. And then Edmonton 4-1 over Minnesota. Okay, we rebounded. Good. But then we go San Jose 5-2, Pittsburgh 3-1, Carolina 3-1, New York Islanders 5-2, Arizona Coyotes 3-2. So, I mean, to go all the way to February 19th with only one win in the month, what did we change under Keith Gretzky from Peter Chiarelli? Well, there's a couple of moves that all of a sudden you kind of see get the attention, right? You've got the Sam Gagner move that really re-energized this team. You've got the Cam Talbot trade that Anthony Stolarz came in, and look at that. I mean, come on, could Cam Talbot have done that last night? I don't think he could have at all. But you see two trades that really all of a sudden, I think the thing we were looking for as Oilers fans is a GM who can get us a win in a trade. And suddenly Keith Gretzky, as the interim GM, goes out there and gets us 2 wins as the interim. And suddenly, I mean, the conversation shifts from we need a new GM to Keith Gretzky is the new GM. That was how quickly, within 2 trades, that's how quickly the conversation shifted. And it was absolutely unreal to see, because that's a testament to us as Oilers fans how messed up we get in the head sometimes about things in Oilers land. But I mean, to sit there and see, okay, 2 wins as an Oilers fan in terms of trades, and then suddenly, you know what, we still don't have any real word. At that point, we didn't have any real word. We knew we were going into the trade deadline with Keith Gretzky as our general manager. Ooh, man, what was going to happen? And I mean, we built up a lot. I tried to build up the trade hype. Everybody built up the trade hype. We thought either you're completely selling or you're completely buying. Standing pat doesn't do you anything. Well, here suddenly, standing pat has got us to this point, and this is what I could not have predicted, that standing pat would actually galvanize this group, allow Sam Gagner, allows Anthony Stolarz to come in here and really start getting the job done with our squad. And man, oh man, guys, Josh Curry emerges, Andre Sekera returns, and I mean, suddenly this team coincides with the standings being a little bit tougher, but the tough don't get going. They get going the right way. And man, oh man, the Oilers get it going. And suddenly, you know what? Yeah, sure, everybody else is winning, but so are we. And you go after that Arizona loss. You go 4-3 in overtime over the Islanders. 2-1 against the Anaheim Ducks. A shootout loss. The 6-2 game, the embarrassing game in Toronto. And then you go 4-2 against the Ottawa Senators. You go 4-0 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. 4-3 against the Buffalo Sabres. 3-2 against the Vancouver Canucks, and then you lose 3-2 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what? I don't mind that. I don't think any of us mind losing 3-2 to the Toronto Maple Leafs, considering, you know what, it looked pretty crappy, a 3-0 shutout. But we weren't out of that. At any point in that game, our guys, A, didn't give up. Our guys, B, stayed in the fight, right? Giving up and staying in the fight, two totally different things, because giving up, you just allow all the goals. Staying in the fight, you're pressing, you're trying to get those goals. And with a minute 41 or 31, 39, I think the number was, to go, we get 2 goals in that final segment. And man, oh man, suddenly this Leafs score looks exactly like the game that was played for 60 minutes. And that's huge. You minus a line change, you minus that, it's good to go. And now, of course, you throw in a couple of days ago the news about Bob Nicholson saying GM search is going to be a long one. I just want to see if I can pull up that article. I thought I had it, but here we go. Here we go. So here we go. Let's see. Obviously, process of hiring. What the heck are we doing? What the heck? Search continues. All right. Of course, that's the Athletic, so I don't have access to that. But you know what I mean. You can make sense of it if you read the top 10 articles about the Edmonton Oilers GM search on Google. It's as simple as this: Keith Gretzky and what the boys have done on the ice have gone out and absolutely gotten the job done. And that makes for a lot more complication, but not necessarily complication in a bad way. This complicates things a good way, because whether you finish the year strong, you finish the year in the playoffs, whatever ends up happening, you've got a little bit more, I don't know, complexity for a new GM to stand in and do a better job. Right, it'd be too easy, just like Peter Chiarelli did with Connor McDavid, to step in and, oh my God, we've got the franchise in one guy. No. See, we don't need to do that again. We've all admitted, Chiarelli, he did some good things, he did some bad things, but seeing the way in which he thought he had it all clued out, and then to see it fall apart, wheels off the wagon, train off the tracks, yeah, we don't need to do that whole mess again. So the Oilers competing, Keith Gretzky making a couple interesting moves and maybe sitting there saying, I don't want the job, but maybe I want the job. No, I don't want the job. Maybe I want the job, right? He's sitting here playing coy about it a little bit, I think, in my mind. Well, all of a sudden, you get, as Bob Nicholson, you get, as the Oilers brass, a little bit of intrigue, because you can go interview as many candidates. At this point, to the end of the season, you can interview every single GM candidate in the NHL, in the CHL, in the USHL, in the NCAA, and have a little bit of fun finding the exact perfect guy. Because if you were the Oilers, and I mean Keith Gretzky was burning the team down and absolutely destroying everything and leaving the new GM with nothing, and they were losing games left, right, and center, and we were worse than the LA Kings, we had another top pick secured, yeah, you know what, maybe that would make the job a lot panicky easier, right? All of a sudden you have the first guy or second guy that says the right things and you hire him. That seems like an easy thing to do, as opposed to in this situation where, as the Oilers brass, you have to sit there. I know a lot of it is the old boys club as well. You have to sit there and realize, okay, well, you know what, Keith is doing a serviceable job, and honestly, what I could see happening is Keith Gretzky leading this team through the draft. Honestly, as the interim GM, he could lead the team through the draft, and then when you get to free agency or somewhere in August, you hire a new GM. I could totally see that. Because the thing is, I don't imagine they're just going to cut ties with Keith Gretzky and fire him off to exile in like Sweden or something. So I imagine Keith Gretzky will transition back to the assistant GM job, but you're almost looking for a general manager that wants to go co-chairing it with Keith Gretzky. Keith Gretzky taking on the strengths of his job. The new GM just has to have strengths in dealing, strengths in negotiation, and trying to get this team a little bit of cap space. And that's I think the complication. I mean, for Keith Gretzky, the Cam Talbot trade for Anthony Stolarz, that's too easy, that was too good. Makes him look like a genius, but I mean, realistically, not a hard move to make stat comparison wise and in terms of the Carter Hart connection. But it's going to be a sense of Keith Gretzky can build a team. I think that's what we're kind of learning, is he can make the moves to build a team, and not big moves. You don't need to make huge Mark Stone acquisitions to build a team. That's not the way it works. What you got to do to build a team is simply, just very easily, get guys who fit the roles. And for the Oilers, we have not had that for a long, long while. Yes, we have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, Oskar Klefbom, Mikko Koskinen, guys who can get the job done. But we don't have guys who can fill the roles, right? Lucic was supposed to be one of those guys. Zach Kassian just returning to being one of those guys. Kyle Brodziak, almost a complete failure in that sense offensively, filling in as a scoring fourth liner. However, the penalty killing, right? So yes, you've got guys who are filling roles, but not filling the roles we expected them to. So you've got a complicated GM search here for the Oilers, but it's complicated in the sense that there's actually success being brewed under an interim GM who, by all accounts, says he doesn't want any part of the GM job. So you see the layers here. There's a lot to be considered. And in my unprofessional opinion, I think it's going to be a very interesting summer in which I think the draft is going to be very, very telling of how this team moves forward. So guys, that's where I sit on this one. Just wanted to kind of give you my thoughts on the GM search for the Edmonton Oilers at this point. It's been a fun one. It's been a good one. I will catch you guys, as always, in the next one. I'm Tyson. Join the discussion down below. I will see you next time out.